Hi, this is Eric Martin with Board Game Geek. I'm here today looking at Menara, designed by Oliver Richtberg, published by Zoc Verlag. This is a game for 1 to 4 players, ages 8 and up, in which you are building a tower, trying to make it as high as you can in order to win the game. How high do you need to go? You will not know until you get to the end of the game. The playing time is listed on the box as 45 minutes. It can be as short as 5 minutes if you are a terrible player. Don't be that player. Here are the components for Menara. You have 18 temple floors, which are double-sided, with that being something important to talk about later. We have a bag of columns, and we start the game by drawing 6 columns at random. There's one. And filling the camp. You have some level cards. You make the game more difficult or easy by starting with fewer or more of these cards. Let's say we're going to start with 3 for an easy level, which means we need a temple that's at least 3 levels tall when the game ends. When does that happen? We'll get to that. You have easy, medium, and difficult building cards. You shuffle those. And you now take 3 of the temple floors and make a base upon which to build. So, top 3 tiles. You want a good mix of colors because each color appears in the bag a different number of times. Yellow is plentiful. Black, there are only 12 blacks, so we probably do not want to commit ourselves to using 4 of them at the beginning of the game. So maybe do something like this. You need to set up the base so that each tile touches the other in at least 2 spots. You want a nice big wide building area here, so let's say we get something like this. And now, as the solo player in this game, easy mode, I would draw 8 columns. And I have those available to me. So on a turn, you first, if you want, can exchange any columns in the camp with columns in front of you. You want a nice mix so that you can actually take actions during the game. Okay, this looks good. This assortment here is pretty much my assortment that I have here. And then you choose a challenge card. Okay. You cannot even do some of the difficult challenges and a few of the medium challenges at the start of the game. So maybe you want to start simple. Oh, place 1 column. That's as simple as you can get. So you choose anything that matches. So a yellow goes on a yellow space. That's very simple. This card goes on the side. I draw a replacement from the bag. And then I continue with my next turn. Let's say I draw medium, place 3 columns. Okay. This is very easy as a solo game. I played a half dozen times so far, but not solo. Now, the challenge starts coming in when you complete a floor by placing columns that fill every space on a floor. You take the next temple floor from the stack and you have to add it to the structure. And it doesn't have to be only on the columns that you just placed. It can be on anything. Here's where the double-sided nature of the temple floors comes into play. When you add a new column to the structure, you look at the challenge card that you turned over at that turn. And in this case, this card has both light and dark marks, which means I can choose, if I place a floor this turn, to place it either light side or dark side up. If you have another card, such as the one I revealed on the first turn, that is only light, then you must do light. Now, you see the stack of temple floors that are on the side, and you see which colors are available, and the rules don't specify that you can't pick them up and look at them, so we've been picking them up and looking at them, and you decide what you want to place. In this case, well, here's 3 black on this one with 6, and I already have 3 black showing. This would use up half the black columns before I even get going. I have only 1 more black column available in my camp. So I probably don't want to place that side up. Probably want this one. Even though I don't have a blue, and we already have a blue showing there, and there's only 6 blue in the entire bag. But what you gonna do? Maybe you don't even want to complete a floor until you place other things and draw more stuff out of the bag, but we're rampaging through just to show you how this works. So place this structure however you wish. Let's place it off to the side so it has at least 3 columns for support. And then I draw 3 from the bag. Okay. And now I draw another card. Let's draw another medium. This card has 2 columns on a circular platform. And what that means is you have to choose a floor and then place 2 columns on that floor. So this is one reason why you want to use the camp to swap columns in and out, to make sure that you can do challenges like this. If you can't place 2 columns on a floor, that's not good. We'll talk about that. When you place columns onto a temple floor, you can place them simultaneously if you think that will help with balancing. Sometimes the floors are not so stable, so you want to balance that weight as you place them. Or you can place them one at a time if you want. Figure out how you want to do things. So maybe I do something like this. Draw 2 columns and continue to the next turn. Do something easy, place 2 on a platform. Sure, we'll finish this off. It has to be light. So do this. Okay. Oh, that's bad. Now we have 3 blue, and I have exactly 0 blue out here. Let's draw a difficult card. This card is a problem because the symbol here means you choose a floor and then you place columns on it until that floor is filled. And as I just pointed out 1 second ago, every floor has a blue spot on it and I have no blue columns. I can't swap at the market even if there were one in the market because the swapping with the market is first. You must plan ahead and then flip the card to see what you're going to get. Even though I can't do this challenge, I can complete as much of this challenge as I want. And when I do that, maybe I will go here and here, do here. So I get close to completing another floor, but now I fail because I can't complete that. This card gets added to the ones on the side here. And now I must build another level higher. Now I need to go 4 levels high. And right now I have exactly 1 level. The base doesn't count. The base is no challenge at all. You just put stuff on the table. If you fail that, you should not be sitting in a chair probably. You should be lying on the floor or doing something a little less dangerous. So European scoring, the floor is 0, and then now I must go 4 levels high. But the game doesn't end when I get 4 levels high. When you fail a challenge, as I did here, you can choose if you want to swap the columns in the market. Maybe those are no good. I want to get something new. So I draw 6. Oh, geez, that's not... Oh, and then you take all the ones from the camp, put them back in the bag, and now add these to the camp. I probably did not need 4 white columns, but now I have them. I refill my hand to 8. And now we continue the game. Trying not to knock things over as I do so. So I flip over another card, maybe easy challenge. Place 3 columns. Oh, I forgot to swap with the market. I'm not paying attention as I blunder through this video. I'll do this here. We'll do this here. And draw to end my turn. 2, 3. Okay. Let's swap. There we go. And easy challenge. Choose a floor, place 2 on that floor. I cannot choose this floor because that needs only 1. So I can choose this one or this one. In this case, I can finish this floor and then build higher. So let's do that. So place those 2. This floor is done. I get this temple floor, which must be placed dark side up. And now that's going to require another blue, which is not awesome, but so be it. Place it here. No. Place it. Sure. I'm going to keep taking turns. And of course, with more players, the camp becomes a real central element of you swapping tiles back and forth. Every player will start with fewer columns. In the 1-player game on easy mode, you start with 8. But with 4 players, you have only 5 available to you. And you can use the camp to trade with other players by passing things through the camp. You swap on the start of your turn, then the other player goes, and the other player goes. And you start looking at what colors people have, And that determines what you want to do on your turn, because you know what they can possibly do on the turns following, depending on what challenge cards they get. And maybe what floors you want to complete based on what people have. It all sort of connects together as you're going around the table. This is my first solo game, so this is a different experience. We're on to the second level. Let's keep going. New difficult challenge. This time, I must take 2 columns and move them up to higher levels on the temple. You can actually do this in stages if you think this is beneficial. So I could take a yellow, move it up here, and then take a yellow from the ground floor and move it onto this level that I just vacated. This is another aspect of the game that you start to take into account as you get further on into the levels, especially as you start going into the difficult ones. And you can choose whatever you want and go back and forth, and you sort of hopscotch. You don't want to just hit the difficult ones over and over again, because you might not be able to do them. And if you just do the easy ones and leave all the difficult ones to the end, that's probably not going to be good either. So you're taking your chances across the board, whatever you're doing. That's part of playing a game. In this case, you might want to leave columns open so that you can move them up. You can't move the same column up over and over again, but you can move a column to empty a space and then fill something in and work the system that way, if you want to do it that way. However, if you move a column for a floor that was previously filled, and then you move a column up and fill that floor, boom, you have to immediately place a new floor, which can be good and can be bad, depending on how many columns you have lying around upon which a floor can be placed. I didn't place any columns on that turn, so I don't draw anything. I'm fine with what I have. I actually don't even need 2 white, so let me swap there. And draw a medium card, place 2. Okay, well, let's start building this up here. Draw replacements. Oh, hey, lots of black. Is that good? Maybe. I don't know. Difficult card. Draw 3. Place 3. Okay, let's do this. Do this. Get this banana-shaped one, which has to be dark side up, which is okay, I guess. That's actually on 5 pillars right now. Could be good, could be bad. And place one more. Refill my hand to 3. Easy. Place 2. Sure, I can do that. Now taking another easy, place 2 floors. I can do that. Okay. Draw 2. Again, pick a floor and fill it up. And I know when I do that, I'm going to place something else. Let's do this. I can do light or dark side. Time to go a little wider screen just to fit this into the picture. Draw a medium, place 3 columns. And let me get this little funky number here, which is always a pain in the butt and must go dark side up. Okay. Difficult. This card has failed us almost every single time, or maybe we have failed the card, where you must take a temple floor that is already in your structure and move it higher or lower within the structure. And if it has columns on it, those columns have to stay balanced and move as well with the structure. In this case, I can only take this one and move it down here. And hopefully that'll be okay. All right, piece of cake. I draw a medium, move on to a higher level, which I can take a red one from the bottom. This doesn't seem structurally important, does it? Oh wait, it does. Let's take a blue one. Nope. All right. I'll take a black one. Move that higher. Okay. Sometimes you get a situation where you must place a temple floor because you just completed placing columns, filling up a floor, but you're not sure whether you can actually place this somewhere. Either it's too big, it doesn't balance right, or in this case, too small. This one wouldn't even fit, I think, across these, or I could place it balancing on this blue one if I don't ever want to play on it in the future. If I want to gamble like that. But if you can't place it up there, or you just want more stability in what you're building, you can add this to the temple base. And you place it down, it must touch 2 of the tiles already there. However, as punishment for doing that, you must take the construction card for that turn and add it to your requirements. And so now in this case, I must build 5 levels high, whereas I'm only 3 at the moment. That's not good. So in general, you want to start as wide as you can to give you a big base upon which to build, and then keep going up and build up. Because if you have to add to it later, you're just building out, not up, and yet now you have to build even higher due to the punishment for not being good. I've now jumped ahead several turns, readjusted the camera, zoomed out a little more, got the top of the now 4-story temple in view, rearranged the components so you can see things, and we get to talk about the end game. Menara ends in one of 4 ways. If you have placed the final floor into the temple, the game ends immediately. If you have flipped over the final challenge card and completed that, whether satisfying it or adding it to what you need to build, you're done. If you can't draw enough columns to refill your supply at the end of your turn, game over. Final way, not so good, if you knock over a floor. Try not to do that, but if you knock over a floor, then the game ends as well. If you knock over columns, you just set them back up, but the floor itself ends the game. So we continue from this point. I have only 1 easy card left, only 2 medium, and a big stack of difficult. So let's see what we have here. Pick a floor and fill it up. Okay, I think I can do that. Actually, yes. I have only 1 red at the moment, so. Oh. And it has to be dark side anyway. I should have looked at that first. Alright, refill. Pick a medium, place 2. I'm now 5 levels high. But you can't end the game because I still have things to do. Difficult. Oh, move 3 up to higher levels. How are we going to do that? Well, let's take this red off here. This here. Now we complete a floor. We must add something to the. And now I still have to move more to higher levels. Take this yellow. Put it up here. And take this yellow. Not needed. And move it up here. This game should not be played on a felt surface. I'm just going to say that, but that is what I'm using because otherwise, when I record the table, you would see I'm not wearing pants. No one wants that, right? It's getting tougher. Once again, I must adjust. Camera needs to keep going higher. And now we are at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 levels tall. You can see the floor behind me, the microphone stand, everything is coming into view. All I have left are difficult challenges. Place 3 on the same floor. That is possible, or I'm going to die. Oh, now take the next floor, add that. I'm just going to add that right here. And that's how the game ends. If you knock over a floor, game over. However, this doesn't mean that I lose, because if you look at the structure, which I just counted before, it goes 6 levels high off the floor. My requirement to build is only 5. So I meet those requirements and I win the game, even though I knock stuff over. So the game ends when you're out of floors, you're out of cards, you can't refill columns, or you knock over a floor, and at that point you see if you've met the requirements, and if you do, you win. I played Menara 6 times on a review copy from Zoc for Log, perhaps more. I think I lost count at some point. I taught the game to several other people. I've had 4 games in this way, or seen games in this way, where someone knocks over a floor, and yet they still win. And there's been many other cases watching people where they knock the whole thing over, and at that point you're done. You've got a pile of rubble. You do not win the game at that point. We've had other games where we just finish, we've run out placing floors, or we finish with cards, and we win that way. Okay, so that works. The ending where you knock over a floor is a little frustrating. And I've talked with the designer about this, Oliver Richburg, and he said that that was to satisfy the Zoc audience, which is what I suspected it would be, because Zoc typically has families playing, lots of younger kids. This is ages 8 and up, but a lot of Zoc games skew a lot younger, ages 4, ages 6. Okay, so if you're playing with young kids, you might not want the sensation where, oh, we knocked something over with Junior not being so careful, and then we lost the game because of that. This way we can accidentally knock something over and we still win. For gamers, though, you get into the case where you accidentally knock something over and then you win, and it feels very frustrating. It feels kind of like you have cheated your way to victory, and you don't want that. So talking with Oliver, a little back and forth, asking about this, his suggested rule for gamers is if you knock over a floor, you lose. That's it. If you knock over columns, you replace the columns. If you cannot replace the columns due to one reason or another, maybe it's now unstable, you knock something over from the middle, whatever the case is, if you can't replace the columns, you lose. If you knock over a floor, you lose. Otherwise, you continue until you run out of floors, you run out of columns, you run out of cards, and at that point you see whether you're tall enough. And you must keep playing the game. You can't just reach the level and then stop and say, we did it! Because the challenge continues to use the floors, use the cards, use the columns. Can you manage everything? Are you going to run out because you now have no blue in the market and in the camp and no one has anything, you can't place it? Now you got to go higher. You got to manage that all the time and try to make sure that you can keep going, keep building taller and taller and taller. It's kind of interesting architectural problem. We don't have an end point. We just end when we run out of materials. And then we see what you built. Yeah, I guess that's good. All we care about is how tall it is. So you look at my structure here, it's 6 levels tall. I don't have much back and forth between things. It's sort of get this one column and just keep raising the columns. Okay. Maybe you should stop touching this at this point. there you go. The game is highly satisfying. It's very involved. I've loved playing it a lot, except for that frustrating end game rule, which now I can adopt. I will mark out my rule book and just say, if you knock over a floor, you lose the game. So that's the gamer version of Menara. Playing with younger kids, maybe you don't have to be that strict. And you'll probably just play again anyway if you knock it over quickly. So you try again. And you get a very varied experience depending on the floors you start with for the base. You're supposed to shuffle all the floors together, which is, of course, interesting because they're all different shapes and orientations with holes in the middle, and they get a little awkward. But you pull out the top three and make the initial base, and sometimes it's kind of small and the colors are all mixed up, and sometimes it's a lot bigger and room to grow, and you get a lot of variety in terms of what you're doing. And it's a very satisfying feeling as you're building this up. Now, what's kind of interesting as well is when we were talking with Andreas Price from Zoc at the Spielwarenmesse Fair in 2018, he mentioned that Oliver, who joined Zoc in 2004, had a version of this game. Right? This version that you see was not initially what he submitted, but he had this idea already in 2004 for a cooperative building game. Now, coincidentally, Zoc, just a little bit earlier, had won the Spiel des Jahres for Via Paletti, which is a competitive building game with columns and floors, and Zoc decided not to publish it, to put two similar games on the market that don't work the same way. Now, 2018, they finally decided we were going to publish this honed design, and yet every single person who sees it, who has any sort of knowledge of gaming history, says, isn't this just Via Paletti? And it is not, but you cannot help people from doing that. So maybe in retrospect, Zoc should have put it out then. So then you would see building games and you say, wait a minute, is that Via Paletti or is that Menara? What's this going on? What's this experience here? Why am I talking in this funny voice? They could have put things on the market the way we do nowadays in 2018, where something wins an award and you're immediately going to have a spin-off title and then the card game and the dice game and a revised cooperative version and the LARPing version and everything else that goes on. It's a different world now than it was back in the early 2000s. You're trying to hit a game on the market and then maybe it disappears quickly, maybe it doesn't. This would be brand extension. Via Paletti. Capitalize the PAL to make it all cooperative. Because you're buddies working together. Okay. Time to stop rambling. There you go. An overview of Menara. Maybe you'll get to give it a try.